My name is Juniper Sky, 24 years old, and until recently, my whole world fit inside the cozy walls of a little indie bookstore on Hawthorne Boulevard in Portland. The place always smelled like old paper and fresh coffee. Strings of fairy lights framed the aisles, and rain streaked the windows most days, giving the whole shop the feeling of a secret hideout. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. I had one constant in that world, my best friend Lila. She was the kind of person who lit up every room, the opposite of me. Where I was quiet and observant, she was loud and dazzling. People remembered her, and I trusted her like family. Maybe that was my first mistake, because one rainy Tuesday, the life I thought I had was ripped open. I was shelving a new shipment of poetry books when a customer, a girl with purple hair and glitter nails, held up a paperback and asked, "Hey, isn't this you?" The cover was black and gold, with bold letters, "1,000 Secret Mornings." I laughed nervously. "What do you mean?" She flipped the book open and read aloud. "I remember the night my mother left. I was 8, clutching a stuffed fox as the sound of her footsteps faded down the hall. My stomach turned to ice. Those were my words, word for word, from my journal. The journal I kept under lock and key. The journal only Lila had ever seen. I snatched the book, flipping through pages. Every secret, every confession I had ever poured into ink was there. My fears, my heartbreaks, my shame, printed and bound for strangers to devour. On the back cover, beneath glowing praise, was a name. Not mine, Lila Hayes, my best friend. My chest burned as if the air itself was cutting me open. I stumbled to the bathroom, gripping the sink as nausea surged. My reflection looked like a stranger. How could she do this to me? How could she take my soul and sell it as entertainment? That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling naked though the room was dark. The betrayal wasn't just professional, it was personal, intimate. My story wasn't mine anymore. And as Portland rain hammered against my window, one thought crystallized, sharp and unforgiving. If Lila wanted to steal my voice, then I would take it back in front of the world. The bell over the door chimed as I stepped into the bookstore the next morning, rain dripping from my coat sleeves. Lila was already behind the counter, laughing with a customer, her hair shining like she'd stepped out of some glossy magazine. My stomach twisted. She didn't look like a thief. She looked like my friend. But the book in my hand felt like a blade. I waited until the customer left before I slammed it on the counter. The sound cracked through the quiet store. Lila blinked. "What's this?" "You tell me." My voice was sharp enough to cut glass. She picked it up, smirking. "Oh, you've read it." I stared at her. "Read it? Lila, this is me. My words. My life. My journal. You stole it." Her smirk faltered, but only for a second. Then she leaned back, arms crossed, pretending calm. "Juniper, you gave me permission. Remember? That night with the wine? You said I could use your writing for inspiration." "Inspiration?" My laugh cracked like thunder. "You didn't take inspiration. You took everything, word for word. You put my soul on display for strangers, and you didn't even put my name on it." Her voice sharpened. "Do you think anyone would have cared if your name was on it? You never had the guts to publish it. I did. And look at it. It's selling. People love it." The room spun. My heart pounded in my ears. "You betrayed me." "No," she shot back. "I saved you. You should be thanking me." Something inside me broke. Whatever friendship we had, whatever love and loyalty, I saw it die in her eyes. I leaned close, whispering through clenched teeth, "You think this story is yours now, but it isn't. It's mine, and I'll take it back." Her eyes flickered, maybe with fear, maybe with arrogance. "Good luck with that, Juniper." That night, I sat at my kitchen table, the book spread open like a wound. My journal, my life, my secrets, naked under fluorescent light. Every page I turned felt like another slap. But in between the shame, I felt something else, something rising. Resolve. If Lila thought she could silence me by stealing my words, she was wrong. I wasn't going to hide. I was going to speak louder. I opened my laptop, hands shaking, and started typing. A blog post, raw and unfiltered. This is my story, my words, my pain, and they were stolen from me. I poured everything into it. The betrayal, the proof, the anger. My words burned onto the screen. But when I hovered over the publish button, doubt crept in. What if no one believed me? What if people thought I was jealous? What if I became the villain in my own story? I closed the laptop with a slam, tears stinging. The next morning at the bookstore, whispers followed me. Customers clutched copies of 1,000 Secret Mornings like it was sacred. They gushed about how authentic it felt, how real. I wanted to scream. It was real because it was mine. At lunch, I sat outside on the wet steps, picking at a bagel I couldn't eat. My coworker, Marcus, slid down beside me. He was older, quiet, the kind of guy who noticed things without saying much. "You okay?" he asked gently. I almost lied, almost said, "I'm fine," but the words tumbled out instead. "She stole my story, Marcus. Every word in that book. Mine." He studied me, then nodded. "Then tell people. Don't let her own your truth. Make them hear you." His words stuck. That night, I reopened the laptop. Heart pounding, I hit publish. The post went live. My truth, unleashed into the world by morning, my phone was buzzing nonstop. Dozens of messages, hundreds of notifications. My blog post had spread like wildfire. Shared, retweeted, dissected. Some comments were kind. "This is brave. Your words matter. Don't let them silence you." Others were cruel. "She's lying. She's jealous. Clout chaser." I scrolled until my hands shook. Every line of encouragement was a lifeline. Every insult cut like glass. At the bookstore, Marcus met me with a half smile. "You're trending, Juniper." I laughed weakly. God help me. By noon, a reporter had emailed asking for an interview. I stared at the screen, paralyzed. The thought of telling my story on camera terrified me. But wasn't that what I wanted? To take my voice back? Before I could answer, the door of the shop slammed open. Lila stormed in, sunglasses perched like armor, her phone flashing in her hand. "What the hell did you do?" she hissed, marching straight to the counter. The entire store fell silent. Customers froze mid-page, eyes darting between us. I steadied myself. I told the truth. Her laugh was sharp and bitter. "Truth? You're delusional. You gave me those words. You begged me to make them into something. That's a lie, and you know it." Her voice rose. "You want attention? Fine. But don't you dare drag my name through the mud. You'll regret this." My chest trembled, but my voice stayed steady. "The only one who should regret anything is you." Her sunglasses slipped down her nose, and for a second, I saw the flicker of fear in her eyes. She turned sharply, storming out as the doorbell jangled behind her. The customers whispered. Some looked at me with sympathy, others with suspicion. But I knew one thing. The battle wasn't hidden anymore. It was public. By morning, my name was everywhere, but not the way I wanted. Lila's post had gone viral too, painting me as unstable, jealous, a wannabe author desperate for attention. She attached screenshots, half-truths, taken out of context, old texts where I'd shared drafts, lines she now twisted as proof that I had offered her my words. The comments were brutal. "Drama queen. She's just mad she didn't publish first." Classic jealousy. I wanted to throw my phone against the wall. Marcus found me in the break room, hunched over a cup of untouched coffee. "She's playing dirty," he said softly. "She's destroying me," I whispered. My voice cracked. "And the worst part is, people believe her." He leaned closer. "Then don't just defend yourself. Show them the truth. Show them the journal." The thought froze me. My journal. The rawest parts of me. Was I ready to bear it all to strangers? That night, I paced my tiny apartment, holding the leather-bound book in my hands. Pages filled with heartbreak, loss, secret desires, things I'd never said out loud. If I shared this, there would be no going back. I opened to a page, the same one Lila had copied, word for word. I read it aloud, my voice trembling, and realized something. These words were still mine. They always would be. The next morning, I recorded myself reading, my face raw, no makeup, eyes swollen from crying. I spoke about betrayal, about friendship turned poison, about watching my soul sold as someone else's success. Then I posted it. By noon, it was everywhere. For the first time in weeks, I felt lighter. The video of me reading from my journal had spread like wildfire. Thousands of comments poured in, people saying they believed me, that they'd felt the rawness in my words. Readers started tagging Lila, demanding answers. It was intoxicating, terrifying. Marcus clapped me on the shoulder at work. See? They hear you now. You've got this. But I wasn't naive. I knew Lila wouldn't back down. That night, her response dropped. A glossy video with perfect lighting, her voice calm and measured. She looked like a saint as she spoke into the camera. Juniper Sky is a troubled young woman. I tried to help her, to mentor her, but she became obsessed with me. Now she's twisting the truth. I wish her well, but these accusations, they're heartbreaking. It was poison disguised as grace. The comments split in two. Some defended me. Others clung to her polished narrative. I slammed my laptop shut, heart pounding. How could she twist it so easily? How could lies look so convincing? My phone buzzed, a DM from an unknown account. I used to know Lila. She's done this before. If you want proof, meet me tomorrow. I froze, staring at the words. Proof. The word echoed like a lifeline. I barely slept that night. The message replayed in my mind like a broken record. She's done this before. By morning, I was wired with nerves, staring at the address the stranger had sent. A cafe downtown, tucked between a tattoo parlor and a dusty record shop. Neutral ground, but still. My stomach twisted with fear. Marcus offered to come with me, but I shook my head. If it's a trap, I can't drag you into it. So I went alone. The cafe smelled of burnt espresso and old books. I scanned the room, my palms slick with sweat. Then I saw her, a woman in her late 30s, sharp eyes, short black hair, hands fidgeting with a coffee cup. She looked up, met my gaze, and gave a quick nod. "You're Juniper?" she asked. "Yes, I'm Rowan." She leaned closer. "And I know what Lila did to you, because she did it to me too." Her words hit like a thunderclap. Rowan slid a folder across the table. Inside were printouts, emails, manuscripts, drafts. She explained in a low, bitter voice. Years ago, she'd trusted Lila with her unfinished memoir. Months later, Lila published a novel that mirrored it eerily close. Rowan tried to fight back, but Lila painted her as unstable, and the world believed her. "She thrives on stealing voices," Rowan said, eyes burning. "But I kept everything, and now you can use it." I flipped through the pages, my heart racing. The similarities were undeniable. This wasn't just my fight anymore. Lila had a history, a pattern. Back in my apartment, Rowan's folder sat on my desk like it was radioactive. Emails, drafts, evidence of Lila's theft, clear as daylight. Proof I wasn't the first, proof she was a predator. I paced the floor, chewing my nails until they bled. If I released this, Lila's shiny mask would shatter. But it wouldn't just hurt her. It would drag me deeper into the spotlight. My private pain had already gone public. Did I want to throw gasoline on it? The next day, Marcus noticed the shadows under my eyes. "You've got something, don't you?" I hesitated, then whispered, "Another victim." She gave me proof. His eyebrows shot up. "Then use it. Don't let Lila spin this any longer. The world needs to see her for what she is." "But if I do?" My throat tightened. "This becomes more than a feud. It becomes war." He looked at me with quiet certainty. "Then fight to win." That night, I opened my laptop. Fingers trembling, I crafted a new post. "Lila has stolen before. I am not the first, and here's the proof." I attached the screenshots Rowan had given me. Emails with timestamps, draft comparisons, passages identical down to the comma. When I hit publish, it felt like setting off a bomb. Within hours, the internet lit up. Book forums, Twitter threads, even small news outlets picked it up. Hashtags trended. Readers who once praised Lila now questioned everything. But as the tide turned in my favor, I knew it wouldn't end quietly. It didn't take long. 3 days after I published Rowan's evidence, a letter arrived at the bookstore. Heavy paper, crisp font, the kind of letter that makes your stomach knot before you even open it. Cease and desist. Lila's lawyers accused me of defamation, harassment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. If I didn't take down every post within 48 hours, they promised a lawsuit. My hands shook so badly, I dropped the letter on the counter. Marcus picked it up, skimmed it, and swore under his breath. "She's trying to scare you," he said. "It's working," I whispered. That night, I sat in my apartment with Rowan. She'd come over after I called her, panic in my voice. "She's done this before," Rowan said bitterly. "She threatens legal action, knowing most people can't fight back. That's how she silences them. I rubbed my temples. But I'm not rich. I can't afford lawyers. What if she ruins me? Rowan leaned forward, her voice fierce. Then you go public with this too. Show them the letter. Let everyone see how she operates. The thought made my chest tighten. Expose her again? Push harder? Or protect myself and disappear? Marcus called later, his voice steady but urgent. Juniper, you've come this far. Don't let her push you back into silence. You have more support than you think. I sat with the letter in my lap, staring at Lila's signature at the bottom. It wasn't just ink. It was a threat. The letter sat on my desk like a ticking bomb. 48 hours. That's what the paper said. 48 hours until I had to choose between silence and destruction. I thought about all the nights I spent writing in that journal, believing my words were safe. I thought about the moment I found them printed under Lila's name, and the way it hollowed me out. If I stayed silent now, then everything I'd endured, the shame, the exposure, the betrayal, would be for nothing, so I made my choice. I scanned the letter, every legal threat in its crisp black ink, and posted it online. Caption: when truth doesn't scare them, they try to silence you with power. Here's how Lila fights. The reaction was immediate. Thousands of shares. Outrage pouring in from strangers and readers, authors and activists. Stand with Juniper trended. People began calling out the publishing industry, demanding answers. By evening, news outlets picked it up. Articles ran with headlines. Indie author accused of theft sends cease and desist to alleged victim. Marcus called me, his voice buzzing with adrenaline. You just turned the tide. She can't spin her way out of this now. But deep down, I knew Lila wouldn't crumble easily. She'd fight harder. And sure enough, that night, my phone buzzed with another message. This one from Lila herself. You've made a mistake, Juniper. A big one. You don't know who you're up against. The morning after Lila's text, the world felt heavier. I woke to find my inbox flooded, not with support, but with threats. Anonymous accounts telling me to shut up. Emails warning I'd be sued into oblivion. One even said they knew where I lived. My chest tightened. This wasn't just an online storm anymore. At the bookstore, Marcus pulled me aside. You okay? You look pale. I showed him the emails. His jaw clenched. This is coordinated. She's got people doing her dirty work. Rowan called that afternoon, her voice urgent. Lila has connections, Juniper. Editors, bloggers, even lawyers who owe her favors. She's not just fighting you. She's activating a network. The weight of it sank in. Lila wasn't alone. And suddenly, neither was I. Because hours later, another message came in. But this one was different. A well-known author, someone I'd admired for years, tweeted, I believe Juniper's sky. I've seen Lila pull stunts before. Enough is enough. The tweet exploded. Other authors joined in. Bloggers dug into Lila's past, finding strange similarities between her books and lesser-known works. Momentum shifted again. The truth wasn't just my burden now. It was becoming a movement. But late that night, as I locked up the bookstore, I felt eyes on me. I turned, and across the street, a car idled, its headlights off. The car didn't move. I stood frozen on the bookstore steps, keys clenched tight in my fist. The driver's outline was faint in the shadows, but my gut told me it was her, Lila. I forced myself inside, locked the door, and pulled the blinds shut. My hands shook as I dialed Marcus. She's outside, I whispered. She's watching me. He was silent for a moment, then said, Stay where you are. I'll come. By the time Marcus arrived, the car was gone. He searched the street, muttering curses under his breath. She wants you rattled. She wants you scared. Well, it's working, I snapped, tears burning my eyes. Rowan called later that night. When I told her what happened, her voice went cold. That's her next move. When she can't win with words, she uses fear. She tried it with me, too. I barely slept, every noise outside making me jolt awake. Shadows stretched long across my walls, taunting me. The next morning, another package arrived at the bookstore. No return address. Inside was a copy of 1,000 Secret Mornings. But this one was defaced, passages highlighted, words underlined. And on the first page, written in thick black marker, Yours? Prove it. I dropped the book, bile rising in my throat. Customers glanced at me as it thudded to the floor, but I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. This wasn't just a fight over words anymore. It was a threat. The defaced book sat on the counter like a curse. Customers had left, Marcus had locked the door, but I couldn't stop staring at those words. Yours? Prove it. Lila wanted me scared. She wanted me small. But something inside me snapped. That night, I met Rowan and Marcus at my apartment. I laid the book on the table like evidence in a trial. She's escalating, Rowan muttered, her jaw tight. This is intimidation, plain and simple. Marcus leaned forward. So what are you going to do, Juniper? Keep letting her dictate the rules, or flip the game? I took a shaky breath. No more hiding. She wants me to prove it's mine? Fine, I'll prove it. Not just with words, but with everything she's afraid of. Exposure. Rowan's eyes lit with fire. Go public with the book, line by line. Show the world the journal and her plagiarism side by side. My stomach twisted. The thought of airing my most private pages still made me want to vomit, but maybe that was the point. If I didn't reclaim my story, she would weaponize it forever. We stayed up late, strategizing. Marcus suggested live streaming a reading. Rowan offered her own documents as supporting proof. I imagined thousands of people watching, hearing my words in my voice, not hers. Fear gnawed at me. But for the first time, courage stood taller. As the clock ticked past midnight, I looked at them both and said, "Okay, let's burn her lies down." The night of the live stream, my hands wouldn't stop trembling. Marcus had set up the camera in my apartment, angled against a plain wall. No makeup, no filters. Just me, the journal, and the truth. Ready? He asked softly. No, I admitted, but I'm doing it anyway. When the little red light blinked on, my stomach dropped. Hi, I began, voice unsteady. My name is Juniper Sky, and the book you know as 1,000 Secret Mornings isn't hers. It's mine. I opened my journal and began to read. Line by line, passage by passage. I showed the pages, then held up Lila's book beside them. Identical, word for word. The comments scrolled faster than I could read. She's proving it. This is insane. We believe you. At one point, my voice cracked. Reading aloud the parts I'd written in heartbreak, secrets I never meant to share, made me feel naked. But Marcus squeezed my shoulder, and I kept going. Rowan joined halfway, holding up her own documents on camera. Another voice, another victim. Together, we painted the picture too clear to ignore. By the end, tens of thousands were watching. Screenshots spread across social media. The truth was undeniable now. I signed off with one sentence. You can steal my words, but you can't silence my voice. Hours later, my phone buzzed nonstop. News outlets reported on the stream. Influencers reposted clips. Support poured in like a flood. But so did the threats. The comment replayed in my mind all night. Voices can be silenced in other ways. It wasn't just a troll. I felt it in my bones. The next morning, I left my apartment to find a note taped to my door. Black ink, scrawled handwriting. Enough. My hands trembled so badly I dropped my keys. I scanned the hallway, heart hammering. No cameras, no neighbors around. Whoever left it wanted me to feel alone. At the bookstore, Marcus noticed the fear etched into my face. I slid the note across the counter. His jaw tightened. This isn't just online anymore, he muttered. You need protection. I don't want police reports, I whispered. I don't want this to turn into some spectacle. Rowan joined us later, her voice sharp. This is exactly how she works. She isolates you, scares you, makes you second-guess everything. You can't let her win that way. But fear dug deep. Every stranger in the shop felt like a spy. Every car outside, a threat. That evening, as I walked home in the drizzle, headlights flared behind me. A car crawled slowly down the block. My breath caught. I ducked into an alley, pressing myself against the wall, heart racing. The car passed, but the dread lingered like smoke in my lungs. I thought of Lila, smiling in her polished videos. While shadows of her power stalked me in silence, I couldn't live like prey anymore. The note, the car, the threats, they weren't just scaring me. They were paralyzing me. And if I let fear dictate my choices, then Lila had already won. So I made changes. Marcus insisted on walking me home after work. Rowan connected me with a journalist she trusted, someone willing to dig into Lila's past with more reach than I had. And I installed locks, cameras, even pepper spray by my bedside. Every action made me feel a little less fragile, but inside I was still shaking. Late at night, I sat with my journal open, staring at the pages that had once been mine alone. I thought about the girl who had written them. Vulnerable, unguarded, hopeful. She hadn't expected those words to become weapons. Now I had to forge them into armor. Rowan called one evening. The journalist is interested, but he needs more than just documents. He needs you on record. My pulse spiked. On the record? As in interview? Yes, public, irrefutable. If you're ready. I wasn't ready. But maybe ready didn't matter anymore. That night, I recorded another video. Not just reading, not just proof. This time, I told my story fully. The betrayal, the fear, the stalking. I looked straight into the camera and said, Lila Sloan tried to erase me, but I'm still here, and I'm not afraid anymore. When I hit upload, my chest tightened. The morning after I uploaded the video, the world felt different. Emails poured in, not just from strangers, but from writers, journalists, even activists. People offering support, sharing their own stories of betrayal, thanking me for speaking out. For the first time, I didn't feel so alone. The journalist Rowan connected me with set up an interview that afternoon. He arrived with a recorder and sharp eyes, asking questions no one had dared before. I told him everything. The journal, the betrayal, the threats, the stalking. My hands shook, but my voice stayed steady. This isn't just about me, I said. It's about how easily power can steal a voice, and how dangerous it is when no one questions it. He nodded, eyes burning with conviction. We'll publish this, and people will listen. By evening, the article was live. Headlines screamed across social media. Author accused of plagiarism faces new allegations of harassment and threats. The tide surged in my favor again. Stand with Juniper trended worldwide. Support swelled louder and louder. But with every ally came a shadow. That night, as I walked home with Marcus, a rock shattered the bookstore's front window. Glass sprayed across the sidewalk. A note tied to the rock read, "Shut up or bleed." Marcus pulled me back, his face pale with fury. "She's escalating. Juniper, this is dangerous." I clutched the note, my knuckles white. My fear was still there, gnawing at me. But something else had taken root too. Rage! The smashed glass still glittered on the sidewalk the next morning. I swept it up with Marcus, each shard like a reminder. Lila wanted me broken, but I wasn't breaking. Not now. Rowan arrived with coffee and a notebook full of scribbles. "If we're going to finish this," she said, "we need strategy." We spread papers across the back counter of the bookstore like generals in a war room. Rowan's old documents, my journal, news articles, screenshots, timelines. Piece by piece, we built the story too damning to ignore. Marcus leaned over the mess. "It's not enough to win the internet. You need to make it official, legal, public record." The idea sent a chill down my spine. Lawyers, courtrooms. But maybe that was the only way to crush her for good. "I can't afford a lawyer," I admitted. Rowan smirked. "You don't need to. You've got people now. I know a legal aid group that fights cases like this. I'll reach out." For the first time, I felt the tide turning not just online, but in reality. That night, I drafted a statement. Calm, factual, relentless. I would release it with all the evidence we had gathered, a full exposé, the end of Lila's facade. But as I typed, a noise outside made me freeze. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, right beneath my window. I crept to the blinds, heart in my throat. A shadow lingered, then disappeared into the night. The shadow outside my window wasn't random. I knew it. The next morning, an email landed in my inbox. No subject line. Just an address and a time. Midnight. I stared at it for minutes, my pulse thundering. Marcus frowned when I showed him. "Don't go. It screams trap." Rowan agreed. "She's baiting you. She wants to shake you, maybe worse." But something inside me whispered that I had to go. If I stayed hidden, if I kept running, she'd always control the narrative. That night, the three of us drove to the address together, an abandoned warehouse on the edge of Portland. The city lights didn't reach here. Only the hum of distant traffic broke the silence. "Stay in the car," Marcus ordered. "If it's bad, we get out fast." But I stepped inside. My footsteps echoed against the cracked concrete floor. And there she was, Lila, standing in the shadows like she'd been waiting her whole life for this moment. "You should have stayed quiet," she said, her voice ablade. "You should have stayed honest," I shot back. She laughed, low and cruel. "Do you really think the world cares who wrote those words? They care about who controls them. And that's me. It's always been me." My chest tightened. She wasn't just a thief. She was a predator who believed she owned every story she touched. I raised my phone, the camera already rolling. Not anymore. Her eyes flicked to the red recording light, and for the first time, I saw fear crack through her confidence. The warehouse air was thick with dust and silence. Lila stepped closer, her heels clicking against the concrete. "Turn that off," she hissed, pointing at my phone. I held it steady. "No, the world deserves to hear this." Her mask cracked. "You think they'll believe you over me? I have the contracts, the publishers, the lawyers. All you have are scribbles in a diary." I swallowed hard, then opened the journal in my other hand. Scribbles that are mine. And now everyone can see it for themselves. Her eyes darted to the phone again, panic edging in. She lunged, trying to grab it. But Marcus and Rowan burst through the door at that moment. Marcus shoved her back, his voice booming. "It's over, Lila!" Rowan stepped forward, holding her own stack of documents. "You've stolen from too many of us, and now you're finished." Lila's face twisted with fury, but she saw the truth. She was surrounded. The camera caught it all, her rage, her desperation, her denial. I steadied my voice, looking straight into the lens. This is who she is, and this ends now. By the next morning, the footage was everywhere. News outlets replayed her meltdown. Publishers scrambled to distance themselves. Authors she'd stolen from came forward. Her empire of lies collapsed in real time. And me? I stood in the ruins, bruised but unbroken. It wasn't victory that I felt most. It was release. For the first time since I'd found my words stolen, I breathed freely. My voice was mine again.